students, today I'll be recording a tutorial on how to use formulas in Google Sheets. It's a really helpful and important skill to have, so let's go ahead and get into it. In this tutorial, we'll be learning how to do simple formulas in Google Sheets, how to refer to specific cells or relative cells, and also how to use some of the pre-existing functions that are already built into Google Sheets. Now, if this tutorial is not enough and you need another review, maybe in a different perspective, there's this video on YouTube that is linked in this slide deck, so feel free to watch that on your own time. Okay, so let's start with simple formulas. It's formulas like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, exponents, and the way that you set up simple formulas and have Google Sheets calculate things for you, like a calculator, is literally just in this picture right here, okay? So the first thing you'll do is you'll click on a cell, you'll start with an equal sign, you'll put a number, and for addition you'll do a plus sign, another number, enter, and it'll do addition for you. Subtraction is the same, but now we're doing a minus sign. Multiplication, we have the asterisk in between. Division, we have a slash. And exponents, you have an upward caret, okay? So let's go ahead and practice that on our Google Sheets. So I'm gonna go ahead and just go to a new sheet here. Let's say I wanna do addition, okay? So in this empty cell, I'm gonna press equal. Let's just do the example on the side, 5 plus 5. Enter, there it is, equals 10. Okay, pretty straightforward. Let's do subtraction. So now I'm going to do equals 5 minus 5, and what is that? Should be 0. Press enter, there you have it. Okay, multiplication. Now I'm going to do 5 times 5, and that's 25. So I'm going to press enter. There we go, sure enough, it is 25. Division, I'm going to do equals 5 divided by 5, and that gives you 1. And finally, we have exponents. Okay, equals 5. Upward caret, it's shift and the 6 number 6. That's where you find the upward caret to 5, and that gives you 3,125. I actually didn't know that one, so that's pretty cool for me to know. You can do very complicated things on this. So equals, I'm just going to type in some random number, plus, blah, blah, okay, and then it calculates it for you. Anything ridiculous. And if you click on the cell, it shows you what you was calculated in that cell. Okay, so that's kind of like a basic tutorial on how to do the simple formulas on Google Sheets. Now, obviously, we can make it more complex, and instead of just doing numbers, we can refer to numbers in cells, just like we see here in this first sheet. So let's move on. What about if we want to refer to cells? These are called absolute and relative references. We're going to start to relative. Now, in a Google Sheet formula, a cell reference in the formula is always relative to the cell's location, okay? So for example, over here in this picture, you can see that D2, so if you can see it's cut off, but this is column D, and we're in row 1 to D2. We're referring to the two cells to its left. So it's B2 and C2. Now, if I was to then click on the following cell, D3, it's also referring to the two cells to its left. So as you see down here, it is going to B3 and C3. That's called relative. Relative to the position of where the formula is are the numbers or the cells they're referring to, okay? Let's take a look at an example. So let's say that I wanted to calculate food total, which would really just be equal to, I'm gonna click on the cell, that's how I refer to it, okay, B2, which is the number of hamburgers eaten per month, times cost per hamburger, enter. That would be $9, okay? Now, if I was to drag this down, it's $0. Why? Because now I'm referring to B3 and C3, but there's nothing in C3, so that's a value of 0, and that's why we calculate and get the number 0. So maybe you're like, wait, the cost per hamburger is always $1.50. Can I always refer to this cell over here? And that's what an absolute reference is, okay? As you can see, what we're going to do is we're going to put dollar signs to break up the letter and the number, as you can see in this picture down here. So what I'm going to do is, this is C, okay, let me just change it. So up here, I have C2. Now, I don't want this to change. I don't want when I click on this little blue square and drag, okay, I don't want that value, C2, to change. So I'm going to, before I drag, which is, if you drag, you actually apply this formula to all the cells below. Before I drag, I'm going to actually adjust this. So this is now dollar sign, C, $2, enter, and it's always going to refer to this cell, okay? Take a look. So I'm going to click now on this blue square and drag, and guess what? All of these were calculated with this $1.50 value, okay? Because yes, 8 times 150 gives you 12. 5 times 150 gives you 750, etc. Okay, 2 times 150 gives you 3. So that's how you refer to a cell always. It's an absolute reference. You just have to add the dollar signs to the cell that's referring to. So dollar sign before the letter, dollar sign before the number. Okay. Last thing here is functions in Google Sheets. So let's say that you want to calculate the average of something, which obviously you can set up a formula to do, but it's much easier if you just use a function that's already in Google Sheets, okay? So one example is sort. So let's say you put equal, it's the same thing. So anytime you're doing a formula or a function, you start with the equal sign. Okay, so equal, you type in kind of the command that you want it to do, and it'll usually pop up in Google Sheets, and you can probably find the one you like. But if I put equal sort, there's gonna be parentheses. You drag the values you want to be sorted, or the cells you want to be sorted, and what it's gonna do is sort the data in ascending order. Okay, so let's practice one. Let's do average, because that's pretty common. Okay, so to find the average of a data set, you use this function. Again, go figure, it's equals average, there's parentheses, drag the values that you are interested in the parentheses, put an end parenthesis, enter, and then it should calculate the average for you. So let's go ahead and practice. Let's say that I want to find the average number of hamburgers eaten per month, okay? So I'm going to do equals average, okay? Oh, that one automatically did it, sorry. Let's do equals average. I'm going to manually type in the first parenthesis, and let's say that I do want to click and select all of these values. So as you can see, I clicked the first box that I was interested in calculating in the average, or including the average, and dragged all the way down to the last box. Now you can put your end parenthesis and press enter, and it will calculate that value for you. Let's say I want to find the average food total. Okay, how much money I made from the food. I can do the same thing, equals average, first parenthesis, click the first value you want to include, drag all the way to the last value, end parenthesis, press enter, done. Okay, as you can see, this thing was really tempted to just do sum. Let's say I want to see how much money I made that day. So equals sum, first parenthesis, click the first value you want to include, drag all the way to the last one, end parenthesis, enter, there's your sum. Okay. All right, let's put it all together now. Let's say that I want to calculate how much my customers paid, so I would include taxes, okay? Now, I know taxes, the tax rate is what? I think it's 0.775%, is that right? I'm just gonna put it here, that's the tax rate, 0.775, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a formula, equals the food total times the tax rate, but wait, since this is an absolute value, what do I need to do? I have to add the dollar signs, okay? Enter. And then I'm gonna go ahead and click and drag all the way down, which means it calculates the taxes for everything else, depending on the food total. Grand total is going to be the sum, okay? So I can do sum, but I'm just gonna do a simple reference to the cells I'm interested in. So equals the food total plus the tax that's right next to it, enter, calculates that for me. Do you see this little blue square? I'm going to go ahead and click and drag. It's going to apply all of those formulas to the following cells. Okay, so as you can see here in column 6, it is for sure getting from D6, getting from the cell D6 and adding it to the cell E6, okay? Perfect. And let's say I wanted to now get the average of how much my customers paid. I'm going to do equals average, first parenthesis, click the first cell, drag it all the way to the last value I want to be including the average, end parenthesis, press enter, boom, done. There is your average. Again, all of this was done with Google Sheets. It takes way less time than if you were to manually calculate everything by hand. So I hope that this was helpful to you. Again, if you need more help or have more questions, I recommend that you go ahead and go to this video over here on how to create simple formulas, or you can refer back to the slide deck, or you can rewatch parts of the video that were unclear. All right, thank you so much, and I will see you in class. Bye.